Hey everybody, today I'm talking about Council of Four by Simone Luciani and Daniele Tascini. The game plays 2 to 4 players. I think it dates back to 2015 and it takes about an hour to play on average. Now Tascini and Luciani are pretty much, they are big names in the Eurogame market. They've made so many amazing games. Generally a bit heavier than Council of Four, so Council of Four has that slightly lighter feel, a slightly more introductory feel. And because it's slightly less kind of deterministic, there's a bit more random elements that go into it than a lot of their other titles. But that's not a negative thing. Not everybody likes the extremely heavy, involved games. And this one is just a nice kind of entry-level point to kind of dip your toe into the Eurogame kind of genre. So the idea of the game is that you are trying to establish your nobles in all these different cities. You're going to try to score victory points by doing so, by maybe claiming all the cities of a certain colour, and also trying to claim all the cities from the different regions. So the board's divided into 3 regions. You've got the shoreline, the mountains, and the forest. And basically, if you claim any of those things or any of the different colours, as I said, you're going to take a points tile relating to that, and also the sooner you do it, you're going to score more victory points than someone who does it slower than you. Mechanically, the game is very simple. Each turn is going to consist of a main action and a bonus action, and you can use that bonus action before or after your main action. So the main actions are pretty simple. You can either swap a council member, because every region on the board, as I said, you've got the 3 different kind of columns of regions, and you're going to swap, and every one of those regions has a council associated with them, and those councils are all different colours. And every player is going to have a hand of cards which kind of correspond to those different councils. So one of the things you can do is you can manipulate the council by basically shifting one of those council members off and putting a new one on, and you can take a bit of money that way as well. The second thing you can do is you can buy a permit, and you're going to buy those permits by cashing in the cards in your hand, matching to the council members there. So say for example I had a blue card, a yellow card and a grey card, and that matches the council perfectly. Then I can cash them in and take one of the permits relating to that kind of region. And the permits are important because they let you build in the individual cities. But if you don't have a perfect kind of matching of cards, you can still buy those permits, but it's going to cost you money as well. So you've kind of got those different resources there. You've got your money, you've got your cards, and you've also got squires as well, which I'll mention in a minute. So basically, if you've got 3 cards out of the 4 council members, you're going to have to pay, I think it's 4 coins or 3 coins. If you've only got 2, you're going to have to pay about 7. And if you've only got 1 of those 4 cards, I think you have to pay about 12 coins. So it gets more expensive if you don't match those cards. And at the start of every turn, you're going to draw one of the cards from the stack. And you've also got wild cards as well, which kind of match any of the council members. But it's all about kind of manipulating them and trying to get the council members to match your cards. And obviously, as you're doing so, other players are kind of going to get shafted by it because they've probably been building towards the council members there, and then you're swapping them and so on. So there's that kind of indirect interaction that you can't really help avoid. Because the crossover of people trying to get in the same regions is always going to be there. So anyway, as I said, the idea is to match those council members to get the permits, and once you buy a permit, basically the permits are little tiles, and they're all related to a different city each. Some might relate to a few cities. As soon as you take a permit, you're gonna get an instant bonus, which could be money, it could be points, it could be going down a separate track as well, the nobility track, which is important because the further you go down it, you're going to get points based on who's the furthest at the end of the game. But also when you get to certain kind of checkpoints, you're going to score more victory points or more coins, or maybe you get to take bonus actions and stuff like that. But one of the other actions is you can actually, once you've got the permit, you can cash that permit in and put one of your kind of markers, I think you've got 10 to start the game with, and put it in the city corresponding to that permit. And once you do, you're going to take the bonus associated with that city, but you're also going to take the bonus of every city connected to the one that you've just established that you've got a worker in. So as the game progresses, you're going to build in more and more cities, and if they're chained together, you can get huge engines going and get very satisfying turns. And the rewards the cities give you are, as I said, a bit like the nobility track. You're going to get money, you're going to get points, you're going to get cards, you're going to get the different squires, you're going to get to go down on the noble track. So, and as I said, once you've created these huge networks, you can end up getting a bunch of points that way. But the trick is that the way that you build the networks kind of contrasts the way that you're going to get the big points, because the way that you get the big points is, as I mentioned earlier, you're trying to get on all those different cities of the different colours. But what you'll find is the different cities are spaced out in ways that they're not directly connected to another. So you can either really focus on getting in the cities, all the coloured cities, in order to get those bonus point tiles, or maybe establish a strong network and get points that way, or eventually try and do both and kind of merge them together. But there's a real kind of tension in trying to get the cities before the other players do. If you are second to get in a city behind another player, then you're going to have to pay an additional squire. So, you know, you've got to be a bit more resource savvy that way and kind of keep stuff in reserve if you're being a bit slower. And the kind of the timing values, as I said, you want to be quicker to establish these cities, and if you're not, you're going to miss out on quite a lot of points, because if you act quickly, then you're going to get a lot more points than if you kind of just dawdle and do things in your own time. And you can pretty much be caught off guard as well, because as soon as someone places their last noble in a city, then the game's going to end on that round. So if you have a bunch of people left and your opponent's got rid of them all, you've got a pretty low chance of winning the game. So the bonus actions are very simple as well. So you can either basically, I think you can pay squire to change a council member. You can pay money, I think, to get more squires, or you can pay a few squires to take an extra main action. So they're all pretty simple. Another way of establishing cities as a main action is to match the Queen's council, because the Queen's got her own council. And she starts in the kind of central region, and then you're going to match her council with cards as you do normally, paying the coins and any cards that you don't have. And then for every road that you travel, you're going to pay 2 coins, and whenever you end up, you can immediately build there, which is a nice way to kind of you know, to speed things up and not have to worry about going the whole permit route. So that's cool. But as I mentioned before, it's a pretty light game. Obviously, you're trying to match all the different colours and stuff, which is it can be quite random at times. It almost has like a kind of a Ticket to Ride style feel, where you're trying to just get the right cards and the right colours. The council members are always going to be changing, but you know, if you do change them to suit your needs, you're going to get money in return, which lets you mitigate the kind of cards anyway. So it is mitigated somewhat, but you can still be subject to the draw of the cards and stuff like that. In terms of different strategies you can take as well, there's not a lot of different routes you can go. Obviously, you can really kind of focus on the noble track. You can try and focus on building the networks. You can try and focus on getting the cities, but I think you can't really ignore in trying to get one of the bunch of colours as quickly as possible, because the gradient of the points values that you get do go down quite rapidly. So you at least want to get one of the first 2, because if you don't, then I think you're pretty much out of the running. The balance of the game, as I said, it kind of goes hand in hand with that randomness and deterministic. I think the best player is always going to win this game, but there are more kind of factors that go into it than your average Euro, which you've got to bear in mind. I think the more kind of stuffier, more experienced Euro players might find that a bit more disgruntling than new kind of, or people who want to play a lighter game or a lighter kind of Euro experience. Again, mechanically, very simple, just one of the main actions, one of the bonus actions if you want, but still meaningful, because there's that tension of trying to get the right cards at the right times. You need to have a steady flow of income, because if you don't, then you're going to kind of be really determining on getting the cards right. Downtime is not an option at all. It's a very quick turns and a very quick game in general. I mean, I think the fact that this game takes about an hour to play is really great. I mean, although I say it's a lighter kind of end of the Euro game scale, and it really is. You know, it's not a light game, but I wouldn't even call it a medium weight game. I'd call it a medium light game. But it's a really meaty experience for the amount of time it takes. So don't think I'm kind of over stressing how light this game is, because it's not a light, fluffy game. It's actually got quite a bit going into it, and your thoughts and decisions are going to matter and really influence who's going to win the game or not. So bear that in mind. Replayability wise, obviously at the start of the game, all the different cities are going to have a random kind of good associated with them. So, sometimes all the points values might be close together, which might mean you want to maybe build a network there and try and get loads of points that way. Sometimes it might be spread all over the place. You might have a region that's particularly hot on coins. So again, there's going to be lots of different setups on how the different cities are going to kind of react and give you rewards. But also the main action board is double-sided as well. So there's different replayability that way in terms of the setup. That being said, there are two different versions of this game. There is the Come On version, which is kind of the most recent version, where you've got all your plastic miniatures and it's a really nice production, which you'd expect from Come On. But you've also got the older version by, I think it's Cranio Creations who made it, which kind of has your more traditional Euro style feel with the wooden pieces and such. But I think mechanically the game works exactly the same, and the review will perfectly apply to both. I haven't personally played the Cranio Creations version, but it still looks really nice. But the Come On version is really well produced. I mean, the plastic miniatures are fantastic. They're really imposing. If anything, it's a bit overproduced, but the board is very clear. It's nice and bright. Symbology is great. And so component quality wise, at least for the Come On version, is fantastic. And the theme wise as well, it's pretty, it's pretty generic for a Euro game. It's all about nobility and trying to get your people in these different establishments and try and build networks and stuff like that. So no real kind of tangible theme there, but it works absolutely fine. And setup and teardown time as well is really not too much of an issue. I mean, give everyone their bunch of kind of player pieces, set up the councils, and deal the cards out and stuff and tiles out. But yeah, I mean, I suppose there's a little bit that goes into it, but not more than proportionate is what I'm trying to say. So this is it's a really pleasant game. I think in terms of comparisons to Tascini's and Luciani's other games, I don't think it's quite as involved as those. It's not quite as meaty as those, but I've played this game, I think 7 times now, and I think I'm just about kind of done with it. I'm satisfied with the plays I've had out of it. So it's got quite a lot of mileage in it in terms of getting 7 plays out of it. There's some different things to try, but I think largely the game is roughly going to play out the same every time in terms of wanting to get these. I mean, personally, the strategy I always take is try and rush the 2 cheapest cities and try to get the biggest bonus tile straight away, and I think that's pretty much a pretty optimal way to play it. But obviously everyone's going to try to do the same thing, and only one person's going to succeed doing so. So there is that, but that's just a slight negative for me. But otherwise, I love the way the game plays. It's nice and fun. It's very easy to introduce to somebody, and it's clearly a very well designed game. That's a lot of that hits a very nice kind of weighting and a nice kind of niche in terms of its complexity and times it takes and easiness or accessibility. So it's a very fun game. Definitely check this one out if you like your lighter to medium weight Euros. 2 designers of immense pedigree, and I've loved every single one of their games. So this one does get a very good rating from me. I've given it a 7.7 out of 10. If you'd asked me maybe a few months ago, I'd have probably pushed it over an 8 out of 10, because I was still, exploring things and enjoying it a bit more than I am now, because I've played it out. I've exhausted my my plays of it, but I've enjoyed my time with it. It's been great fun, and I would recommend it. So that is Council of 4. Definitely check this one out. I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, please hit like and subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos too. For everyone else, I'll see you next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye.